All right, here we go again. I want to take a moment to thank everybody. I'm still in the process of getting this all set up here, so bear with me just a second. Like I've said before, you probably read in the emails and everything. These are live, they're unscripted, and therefore sometimes it takes a little while to get things set up. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. Again, I do want to thank you for taking the time to join me today on this webinar. I know your time is valuable. My time is too, so just in advance, I do want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join me on this webinar. And I hope that you'll get some benefit out of some of the things that we're going to discuss here. A couple of the topics that we're going to cover today is going to be some very systems and techniques that have been used over the years to generate anywhere from a few dollars a month and a week up to 3.2 million in 9 months. I'm also going to share with you some of the very same what I like to call my super secret ninja tactics that have just gone on to make immediate profits for me over the years. And at the end of this webinar, I'll have a free gift that I want to give to everybody. And hopefully we should keep this all in and around 30, 45 minutes or so. Just kind of depends on how things go. There's also going to be a little bit of time for questions and answers. So if you think that you have a question in the meantime, write it down, and when we open up the chat box, you'll be able to get your question answered. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get started here. And for those that don't know me or know my story, if you haven't heard, I'll just briefly explain. I spent a lot of time in the military, got a very extensive military background, got out of the military kind of unexpectedly. I was injured and didn't even plan on getting out, and that happened unexpectedly. And literally, I went from hero to zero overnight. One day, I'm in the military, and everything's just taken care of and grand, and I had a plan and knew what I was going to do, and I was working the plan. Next thing you know, I get injured, and they're saying, hey, we're going to put you out, and they did just that. So I went from hero to zero. I was jobless and homeless the very next day, and I didn't know what to do. All I knew that I was married and had a brand new baby at the time, and needed to take care of them, and so I had to do that the best way that I could. And so that's what we did. I wound up getting into bounty hunting one way or another, and it was hard, to say the least, to get into bounty hunting. I remember one of the first pickups I ever did after I handed the skip off to the bail bondsman. Bail bondsman turned around, looked at me, and said, I hope you don't think you made a frickin' friend. And regardless of how that bondsman's reaction was from doing that first pickup, it was in my blood. I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so I bugged this guy for 3 months and asked to get more work, asked to get another case for 3 months straight. And I heard every excuse in the book as to why I didn't have any work or there was no reason to get any more skips or any more cases from him. I mean, I heard everything from the fact that he did his own pickups. He just didn't have skips, which I knew both of those were lies because I just picked a guy up for him. You know, I heard everything. And I got to thinking, hey, well, maybe this guy doesn't want to give me any more work because he doesn't know me. He doesn't know my background, doesn't know I have a military background. And so maybe if I just get some credentials, you know, get an official title behind my name, maybe he'll give me some work then. So I got to checking around, and I the first thing I did was I called the city, and I said, hey, city, what do you got to do to be a bounty hunter? And they said, we don't know, call the county. So I called the county. I said, hey, county, what do you got to do to be a bounty hunter? And they said, we don't know, call the state. So I called the state. They said, well, hey, what do you got to do to be a bounty hunter? And they said, we don't know, call the city. And I realized, I'm going right back in this circle, and I'm like, man, what's going on here? Surely somebody's got to know. Well, I come to find out quickly that, especially here in Kansas at the time that I got started, Nobody knew because there is no regulation or legislation here governing bounty hunting in the state of Kansas. And, that got me to thinking, and I said, there's probably other people that want to do this business, but just don't know how to get their foot in the door. And so from there, that's where I started piecing together a training academy. And now, while I was doing that, at the same time, I was still bugging this guy. His name was Ross Greenfeather. I was still bugging Ross. Ross isn't alive anymore, but he was the first guy. And I was bugging him every day, like I said, for 3 months. And so while I'm building this curriculum to train people and trying to figure out how to do that, I'm still bugging him on the side. And finally, he's mad, and he says, "Hey, look, you've been bugging me for 3 months. And I've got a guy that I'm looking for, and I can't find him, so I know as sure as heck is you're not going to be able to find him. And when I have to pay this $100,000 bond off tomorrow because you failed to find him, don't you ever frickin' call me again." And so, I knew I had a little trick up my sleeve because again, being in the military, I had some connections and some contacts and with different sources. I'll put it that way. Well, I can just tell you this. This was back before GPS was available to the common public, and it was in Syria. We didn't have smartphones and stuff. This was back in the mid '90s. And so anyway, but I did have some connections, and I knew that we could triangulate this guy. If he had a pager or any kind of cell phone, we could triangulate his area and get a location on him. And we did just that. Now, matter of fact, when he gave me the go-ahead, I found this guy in 15 minutes. But I wanted him to sweat it out a little bit and look like I actually did some work. So I didn't tell him, "Hey, I found him in 15 minutes." I let him work just a little bit, let him stew a little bit on the idea. Before we got to that 11th hour, right before he was about to go pay the bond off, and then I finally said, "Hey, I got your guy," and that was enough to allow Ross to take me kind of under his wing, if you will. And at that time, I had also been working with and I was concentrating my efforts on trying to get some work from some other bondsmen too. But that actually was the one break, if you will, that opened it up for me and allowed me to actually get some work. It was my foot in the door, if you will. So Ross finally takes me under his wing, and he says, "Okay, I'll tell you everything that you need to know about the bail bonds business." And he says, "Rule number 1, never tell anybody how to get into this business." And then he says, "Rule number 2, always practice rule number 1." And I was like, wow, and I quickly learned that this business of bail enforcement is done through apprenticeship, and it's very seldom, if ever, are they able to get into this closed type of industry and really make a name for themselves. And from there, I was able to get in there through the grace of Ross and a couple of other ones, and get some training. And then, like I said, I built this training system on the side as well. But before I get into that, I did take the bail bond side of it, and everything that Ross taught me combined with some things that I just picked up and learned on the way, and just some natural osmosis, I guess you could call it, that I just naturally knew about business. And I took a company from which was nothing but an idea to actually at one time being the largest bail bonds company here in the state of Kansas. I wound up having over 20 bail bondsmen on my payroll and over 25 bounty hunters on the payroll at any one time. And we were writing the most bonds in the city, bar none, for quite a while. So we basically, we went from, I went from $0 jobless, homeless, being straight out of the military, to 3.2 million in sales. That's it. That's in bonds written in sales in roughly about 9 months, give or take. Don't hold me to that, but roughly in about 9 months. Now, before I go any further, I want to just preface something else too. These results are not typical. I'm not going to say that you'll be able to listen to this webinar and what I'm talking about and be able to go out and make even $1. But I'm telling you what worked for me, and hopefully what you can do though, is learn some of the systems and tips that we're going to be talking about and that I'm going to be discussing, and they will work for you as well. But my results aren't typical, and you know, I can tell you this too. It's kind of like going to a gym. All right. I'm not going to tell you that when you go to a gym and get a membership, that you know, nine months to a year later, or even 5 years later, you're going to walk out looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. Or any one of these other fit guys that you can think of. I will tell you this, though. I can guarantee you, okay, that if you get that membership and do absolutely nothing, I can guarantee you what your health and your outcome is going to be the same as it was from the day you bought that membership. Same thing with these tips and principles. If you take these tips and principles that have not only worked for me, but have worked for bail bondsmen, have worked for attorneys, have worked for various different peoples across various different industries, and you don't do anything with them, you're probably going to get the same thing in results. But if you do something with them, the sky's the limit as to where you can go. And I don't know if you guys can hear or not, but I am doing this webinar here at my house. There's no office. It's no high-tech fancy stuff here. And I've got my best bounty hunter with me on the side. Her name is Marley. She's the one that you always see the pictures of. I put on Facebook. Anyway, so you may hear her moaning and groaning because she's trying to, looks like she wants to go chew up some little bitty yappy dog outside or something. She doesn't like those kind of dogs. Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about. So that's what happened. We took it from nothing to a big bail bonds and company, while at the same time I'm building this training academy. Now remember what rule number one is, okay? So needless to say, I am still with the mindset, you know, there's probably other people that want to do this, but just don't know how to get their foot in the door. And wouldn't it be great if there was somebody that could show them just that? Especially by now, the internet's really taken off, or starting to take off. Media and reality TV, if you will, is starting to get into the mainstream and the limelight of things. And so, you know, people are starting to see on the media about bounty hunters kicking in doors and dragging people out. You know, they're dragging the wrong person out by their hair just to find out they got the wrong person and dropping them off and leaving them outside the road for dead, or whatever the case. You know, they're hearing horror stories about the industry. And, you know, so while at the same time I'm building this and I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting ready to break cardinal rule number one. How am I going to be able to do this while at the same time stay, you know, keep the peace with my fellow people, bondsmen in the industry? And, you know, I didn't quite know how I was going to do that one, but I knew I needed to take action and move forward. And so I did it anyway, took action, moved forward, came up with basically what I did was take some MP, Military Police Arts Act manuals, and modified them and tweaked them to fit the bail enforcement industry. Put in some standards and some other things, because I also heard about bondsmen that are just going shady and dirty. I know I've seen plenty of bondsmen. I've had to let go of some bondsmen that just didn't want to do things on the up and up, and they were less than professional. And, you know, when you're going to do that in this business and career in the business of bail enforcement, your career is probably going to be short-lived. And a lot of things here that I'm talking about, I talk about bail enforcement because that's where I got my start, and that's what works for me and had worked for me. But you can still take these tips and techniques and suggestions and use them for any industry. So to continue on, I took this, put some guidelines in, started a training academy, and was very successful at doing that. And then basically sorry about that, folks. The rug got swept out from underneath my feet in regards to the way the internet took off and the information age. And what I mean by that was literally when I first got started training people, I could put a simple 5-line ad in the newspapers across the country for like $20. And I think I was back then I was charging $197 for and I would train people for 5 hours a day, okay, Monday through Friday for 2 weeks. And so basically they're getting 50 hours of training for 2 weeks live in person. And now, so what would happen was I would spend all day bonding people out of jail, and then my at the time it was my wife. She's my ex-wife now, but at the time my wife, she was one of the secretaries. She would spend all day scheduling interviews for people responding to this ad that we would put in the papers. This ad was simple. We'd place the ad. They were, had put some information up there. They would make a call. She would qualify them through this interview, through these questions, and then set them up for an interview. So then during the daytime, I would go bond people out of jail, do court stuff, do all that kind of administrative stuff on the bail side. And in between all of that, I would interview people to see if they were going to be, if they were acceptable or what, lack of a better word, worthy enough to come into my training academy. Because I just didn't want to train anybody. I didn't want to, again, I wanted to dispel some of the myths and misconceptions that people have or had about bail enforcement. I didn't want to train. Some of the guys, I remember this one guy looked great on paper, man. Marines, outstanding record, outstanding resume, and it looked good, looked the part. I mean, his eyebrows had muscles. This guy was so big, and talked real good. And then as soon as he says, and I want to get on your team because I'm not afraid to kick some ass. Well, to me, that equals liability. I didn't want any part of that. I knew this guy wasn't going to work out. And, so that's why we had those guidelines and standards, because we just didn't want anybody, and to come through. When I used to train people, I'd tell, especially the bondsmen, I'd tell them that, hey, you're going to have more money go through your hands in a few weeks than most people will see in an entire lifetime. And so when you combine that amount of money that we have access to, along with the power that we have over an individual, especially as a bail bondsman when we're getting them out and during the whole process of that, that's a lot of authority. That can go to a person's head. And if you put that kind of power and authority into the wrong hands, again, usually their career is short-lived, and 9 times out of 10, they wind up coming on our most wanted list as well. We wind up bonding them out or not, and then either way, we look for them to get them back into court too. There's been actual times that has happened. So, in either case, what happened when the floor came out from underneath me? The internet really took off. Information age really took off. Now there's a guru about everything that you could see on the internet, combined with the fact that my newspaper, everybody quit turning to the newspapers to look for things, to look for classifieds specifically. And nowadays it's either Google or Craigslist, right? And if you wanted to place an ad with the paper, and then have it get most of the papers were hooked into Career Builder. So if you wanted to place an ad, anyway, a $20 ad turned into like a $1,500 ad. And I was like, oh God, there's no way I'm going to do that. So one of the things that we had to do, and that I had to do, here's a hidden message here, folks, is I had to adapt my training, and I had to adjust the training to fit the current times. And if I wanted to survive in this training arena, which I did, I realized, again, not only was my passion bail enforcement, but more specifically, my newfound passion on top of that was training people and seeing the light come alive in their eyes when they finally got a hold of their passion and were able to be successful at doing whatever it is that they wanted to do. as long as they had a little help coaching and help along with it. And so, but if I wanted to survive in that, I had to adapt with the times. And adapt we did. That there was a learning process through all of this too. Um, I said I went from hero to zero, and then from 0 to 3.2 in 9 months, and then from 3.2, actually in excess of that, it went from 5 million to zero in about 3 months because I wound up getting divorced and lost my shirt. And, that's a whole different topic in itself, but it was nasty, it was bitter, and it was bad, and literally went from, again, millions to, and moving 4 times in 9 months to losing it all in 3 months and being jobless, homeless, and don't know what to do again. And while at the same time, the floor is being swept out from underneath my feet because there's a major dynamic and shift in how people get their information, which, again, talking about the internet. So took a little break off, did some other things on the side, but and just was miserable the whole time I took this break off from doing other things, and because I wasn't pursuing my dream, I wasn't pursuing my passion, and I was miserable while I was doing all this other stuff, and decided to. Everybody used always tell me, hey, I need to get back into bail bonds. That's where my passion's at. That's where my heart's at. And that's what makes me happy. And I need to get back into coaching and training folks, and so that's where my passion and heart is at. So got back into it, and got right back up to where I needed to be again. But it wasn't easy. There was some learning curves and some struggles, and a lot of training and self-improvement that I had to do. One of the things that I wound up doing was I had to get a team, and I had to get some help, in other words, to help me, because now I didn't know too much about the internet and how to navigate my way through it and how to make myself stand apart from all the other gurus. But I was able to do that successfully. I put together a team, and was able to set myself. I knew I had the experience and the not only the wherewithal, but just I had the education. I do have a degree in criminal justice. I had the military experience, both in criminal justice and information gathering, because I have an intelligence background. I was an intel analyst in the Army. And, I had a good business and just an entrepreneurial mindset from the word go. And that probably stems from my dad, his upbringing, whole different story. But I wanted to do something different to set myself apart from everybody else, especially when it came to this information age. And so one of the things that I did was, and I still do, here's one of my ninja tactics for you. Get out your pen and paper, write this down, okay? This is where I go to a lot of times to get different information. Let's see if I can pull up this slide for you. Oh, sorry about that, folks. Let's see if I can pull the slide up here. Okay, so this is where I go to get information. All right. Whenever I want to position myself as an expert, you can go to Hourly Nerd or Guru.com or Fiverr.com. And basically what I do, if I want information on bounty hunting, then I will go and I will submit my request to either one of these sites and say, hey, I want to interview somebody who's an expert on bounty hunting, I'll probably get an attorney or somebody that thinks they know criminal law, and they'll give me, by doing so, they'll give me information about whatever it is that I'm wanting to talk about. If it's, hey, I need information on surveillance. I don't claim to be the number one or the best. I'm pretty good and very effective, and some of the techniques that we use are very effective as far as conducting surveillance. But I have done that before. Hey, I want to interview somebody on the proper surveillance techniques and procedures, and then somebody will submit their bid, or they'll want to work with me, and they'll let me interview them. So through interviewing them, I will ask them questions. Hey, what do you do? How do you do it? Blah, blah, blah. And while I'm asking them these questions, then I record it. Then I take that recording, get it transcribed, and now I have two different forms, two different pieces of product that I can use, number one, later on down the road. But now it also gives me the information to help me present myself as an expert in whatever I'm talking about. Okay, especially if I'm going to be going to bail bondsmen and bounty hunters like I do, and say, hey, let me get some cases. Do you have any work or whatever? It's able to position myself as an expert when I go to them, and basically I proposition them for work. But I do it in a way that they're not even realizing that I'm propositioning them for work, because I'm coming in to them very casual and informative, and it's been very effective for me. So these are my go-to things right here. Been using this for a while. The other thing that I do and had to learn to do in the process of getting into this information and getting the business online was I would go to all 50 states that wrote bail bonds and get access. You can usually do that through the Department of Insurance of that state. And I'd get a list of all of those licensed bail bondsmen. And then I would usually, with their list comes they have an email on that list. And I would just start emailing them. But what I would email is key. But that I would start that communication and that lines of communication with them. And that's one of the things that helps set me and distinguish me aside from everything else. So that's some of the two main things that you don't take anything else away from this seminar, I would say utilize or remember that is know where to get your information from, learn how to position yourself as an expert, and by doing those two things, you'll be able to get the results that you're looking for in your business. Excuse me. I also had to create a team. None of this would have been possible. Now, that doesn't mean I went out and hired a bunch of employees. Didn't do that. My team consists of the people I just showed you in that previous slide here. Whoever I hire in any one of these, I do have a social media or a virtual assistant. Tara, she answers the phone for me, sets up my appointments and whatnot nowadays. And then I have legal counsel that I consort with every once in a while just to make sure that I'm doing things the right way. And that really makes up my team. So again, when I say you got to have a team, don't get that confused with going out and hiring a bunch of employees. Do not go out and hire a bunch of employees. Well, I've given plenty of free training on why not to do that. But one of the other members of my team are coaching. I'm always getting coached. I'm always looking and trying to stay on top of the latest ways, the most effective ways to provide information and training. And I'm always out, keeping myself fresh on what's going on out there in the market too. So I always got to be coaching. Always got to have things going on. We just had this one up earlier, and I'm putting it up again. What's the hang up in your business? What's going on in your business that's keeping you from getting things to where you want it to be? Just something to think about there, and I want you to write that down so that when we open up for questions and answers, you'll be able to get your questions answered. So in the process of building a team and gathering all this data and then knowing what to do specifically with the data, which is what I did to attract my clients. I got all this information about my clients, got all this data about my clients, and then showed how that utilizing my services as a bounty hunter. Back then, I used to have one of my things that set me apart from everybody else was not only, and I still do, have a guarantee, money back unconditional guarantee, but we would do flat rate recoveries, and they were worked on a scale basis. Bonds, back then it was, I think, 500 to 1,000. We'd do it for like $100. And I was just trying to get my name out there. Not saying that's what you guys need to do, but I did flat rate recoveries on a sliding scale. A bond, $5,000, $10,000. It was like $1,000, $1,500 or so. So obviously, I made it a win-win-win situation for everybody. In other words, the bondsman would win because he was still he was saving money, not paying off a whole big bond. The bail enforcement agents would win because they were getting work and getting cases, and so and then the company would win because we were helping them out to do all of the above. But anyway, that whole other program, you can get with me if you want, and we'll talk more about the whole flat fees and everything. But those are the ways that I was able to, when everything went online, was able to adapt and still come out ahead. Okay, so we took all that training and compiled it, and combined with all of the data and the team building, and we're able to put it all together and compile it into what I would call consulting now. And in fact, I've done this for attorneys. I've done it for judges, actually. I've done it for filmmakers. And there's at least one attorney I know that's still in the inner circle right now. And I've done it with other folks. I've done it with detectives that wanted to retire and move to Costa Rica. And, if you would like for me to help you with your business too, I would be more than happy to do just that. In fact, oh, sorry about that. I was watching my dog here. She got me distracted. I thought she was going to run because I got my door halfway cracked open. She's too big to get out and go running for people. In fact, I've got a class coming up, which is an advanced consulting class that's going to be starting on December the 7th. And this class is going to be limited to just a few number of people. Because I'm going to be teaching this live and interactively over the course of 6 weeks. And here's just some of what we're going to be going over in this next 6 weeks in this class, okay? In week 1, I'm going to help you identify who your potential customer or prospect is. We're also going to talk about income. Basically, we're going to help define how much money are you looking to make in your business or with your idea, and then we're going to identify your potential prospect and client, and everything else will work towards doing that, towards getting that potential prospect and client. In week 2, some of the stuff we're going to cover is positioning yourself as an expert. Like I said, I just showed you my ninja tactics there, but it's not only gathering that information, it's knowing how to use the information once you gather it. And then week 3, we're going to get results. Okay, in other words, we're going to implement all the information that we've gathered, the positioning of ourselves as an expert. We're going to put that out there in social media and on the internet and online, and get you some results. In other words, you've got to put some ads out there. I'm going to show you how to position those ads. That's nothing complicated. A lot of people think that it is, but it really isn't. And we're going to show you how to get your clients in. In other words, how to build a list of clients or a list of prospects. Week 4, we're going to talk about getting a sale. In other words, we've done everything else. You've posted a few ads or whatever, and now somebody responds to it. What do you do? We'll talk about how you close that sale in week 4. Or if you do get somebody on the line and talk about they're utilizing your service or product, but they don't know, they just want to think about it. We're going to tell you how to handle those objections and get that sale anyway. In week 5, that's when what we do to keep the client happy and coming back for more. I'm going to show you how to over deliver on your promises with the clients. How I did many times, like I was saying, as far as providing that flat rate service, which was a huge value for them, because for just a little bit of money, they were saving thousands and thousands of dollars and very minimal liability and risk to them. So we're going to show you how to keep the clients happy and keep them coming back for more. And then in that last week, we're going to readjust anything that needs to. We're going to look at everything that we've been doing in the first 5 weeks. We'll readjust it, redeploy it, and also at the same time, we're going to create other revenue streams for you and teach you other ways to make additional income for you, so that you're not just relying on any one thing. I guarantee you, I could probably look at your program and right now and see that you're leaving money on the table somewhere. So those of you all who have made it this far, what I want you to do right now is, in a little bit, there's going to be a link popping up here. Once you pop up to this link, I want you to go to this link and right here, and go to this link, set up a time to chat with myself. All the instructions on how to do that is at the link at the website. And what I want you to set up a time to chat with us. Everybody that goes to the system right now, I'm going to be sending you a free turkey dinner, and you'll be able to set up a time with Tara. She's going to explain to you what all that's entailed, but you just let me know where to send your butterball turkey, and we'll send you a free turkey dinner for taking the time to be on this webinar with me today. But you have to go to this link right here, okay? Now, this program that I'm offering, this advanced training class, is not for everybody. And in fact, I'm going to show you who it is for, okay? This is actually a copy of the site that you'll see once you go to that link that I just showed you, okay? Here's some of the things that is probably going to let you know if this is for you or not, okay? I'm going to scroll through it here. Give me just a second, and we'll talk about some of this, okay? Right here. These are usually, I'd like to say if you meet this criteria right here, you're probably somebody that I could be able to get with and be able to help make some breakthrough changes in their business. But to do that, you have to meet these 5 criteria. Okay, first of all, you have to have a solid business or idea that's verifiable or a stable track record. In other words, I can't help anybody that just is not focused, and today they want to be a florist and tomorrow they want to be a rocket scientist, or so on and so forth. Your business or idea needs to be pretty solid, okay? Those are usually the best people that will get the best results from this training class that we're going to be having in December, okay? You must have customers already, or at least some kind of database that's already built up. If you want to do the how do you get your customers and that thing, not only do we talk about that in this class, but if you're just at that stage in your idea, in other words, if you're still in proof of concept, you probably want to go and join the Inner Circle, our Inner Circle program. And that's a whole different program. You can still, when I open up the chat box, if you want information about that, I'll give it to you. But that's probably more for you than this, okay? So in other words, just like it says, you need to have a steady flow of customers coming in. You need to be running ads, promoting whatever it is that you're doing, and you've got to be doing stuff, okay? Which kind of goes along with number 3. The people that usually I work with have to have a list. You have to have a good product, service, and a good reputation, because just as I was telling you how in the beginning, the whole reason why I created my training academy originally was because I set high standards, and I only work with people that do good things. So and you have to be able to follow directions. Okay, that's just it. That's not a lot, but if you can't meet all of those, again, if you're still at the proof of concept stage, Inner Circle might be a better thing for you. If you think you can meet these criteria and this would be a good fit for you, then again, go back to this link right here. Write this down: http://svtujbm.megaph.com and set up a time. When you go to this link right here, okay, then you will, you're going to see this page right here. And this not only does it talk about, again, the criteria and whatnot, but there's a whole, this whole letter, it explains what's going on. Now, the whole price of this is there. I am asking for a $99 deposit. All of this is right up front here, though. And the $99 real person deposit, I could care less about your money. Okay, the last thing I want to do is take your money. What this does is it keeps my time thieves away. It's kind of a weeding out process to help me determine who's serious and who's not. Once we get your real person deposit, what happens next is Tara's going to call you, and she will set up a time. She's going to ask you a few questions, probably give you some information to fill out, and she'll set up a time for you to get on the phone with me. Once you get on the phone with me, we'll chat. Usually takes anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. And we will see if this program is going to be a good fit for you or not. If it is, great. You'll probably want to get involved and join the program. If it's not for you, then I will quickly give you your deposit back and tell you have a nice day. If you decide that you do want to work with me, then as you can see here, the fee will be $11.88 a month after that. Your $99 deposit will go towards a down payment towards that $11.88. And again, you don't need to get hung up on that. I expect that together we're going to knock this out of the park, and I'm going to help you make more than $11.88 a month in your first 12 months of working together. I'll actually be able to give you a plan when we first get on the phone that's probably going to help you make at least $2,000 as soon as we get off the phone. You'll be able to deploy it immediately and make more than that. And here's my big guarantee. If for some reason you think that I've wasted your time, then on this initial phone conversation, I will pay you $99 because just as I said at the beginning of this webinar, your time is valuable and important, and as is mine. But if you think that I've wasted it, then I'll pay you $99 for your time, and we'll go on and have a nice day and go apart our separate ways with no hard feelings. So just think about it. I'm personally going to create a profit plan for you up front and then let you pay me later. And if you think I've wasted your time, then I'll pay you $99 for wasting your time. There's nobody else that will offer you that kind of guarantee. And I can do that because I know that my system gets results. I've done it not only for myself, I've created millions for myself and others over the years and continue to do it. So I know I can get results for you as well. I'm going to go ahead and open up for right now for some questions and answers here. So let's go ahead and set that up. Give me just a second, and I'll get it set up so that we can now do. Did you hear Marley? She wants to talk, I guess. All right. So we'll go ahead and set this up now. We're setting up live here. We can chat with anybody who's ready to chat. And after we get a couple, or if we get some, looks like everybody's kind of, thanks for the training. It's been great thus far. Hey, thank you too there, boss. I appreciate the compliment. Looks like everybody's getting gun shy here. Nobody wants to talk. And if that's the case, then I'm going to just wrap up here and say, once again, thank you for your time. Be sure that you click here. Go here. Now, here's one thing that I'm going to do. I'm not going to get into this. A lot of online marketers will get into telling you, hey, for this normally sells for $50,000, but for here and now, you can get it for one low price of blah, blah, blah. Almost sounds car salesman to me. I don't do that. The price for my consultant services is $11.88 a month. All right. It's a $99 deposit. Just again, that kind of weeds the people out, the tire kickers out, if you will, for the ones between those and the ones that are serious about wanting to build their business and take it to another level. If you think that's you, and if anything that I've said thus far makes sense, then go ahead and do this. But here's what I will do, just for those of you all that are on this webinar. If you sign up right now, I'm going to send you a link to this page, okay, only. I'm going to send you a link to this page. It'll still be a $99 good faith deposit, so we can set up the time to have the initial interview. If during that interview, one of three things will happen. I'm going to deploy the plan for you that you'll be able and draw out a blueprint for your business that you'll be able to use immediately and get immediate results. If you like it, one of three things happen. Okay, you can decide that you want to use that system on your own, and you'll take it from there. And if that's the case, we part ways, and good day and no hard feelings. You'll maybe like the system, but want some help doing it. And if that's the case, we can work together and knock it out of the park, and you'll become one of my clients. Or the third thing is that maybe we're not a good fit for each other, and if that's the case, I'll politely let you know and immediately get your refund right back to you. So in any one of these three scenarios, you can't lose at all, okay? But if you're on this webinar right now, you will be able to get into this advanced consulting class starting December 7th of next month for $197 a month instead of the $11.88. But you must click right now and set up your time to talk with Tara right now. As soon as I end this webinar, this offer goes away and it goes right back to the $11.88 a month. But if you want to take advantage of this, you need to do it right now. Well, it looks like I just got 3 people that are doing it right now. Okay, and those are the ones that are going to get results in their business and when you take action now. Don't get hung up on stinking thinking and analysis paralysis and say, well, I think I'm going to wait and see how everybody else does. I can't tell you how many times I've either known somebody or I've had an idea myself and I wanted to wait and see what somebody else was going to do. And the next thing you know, my idea is getting sold on the internet or across the world. Dang, Mark Zuckerberg. No, I'm kidding. But you see my point. Don't wait, guys. Take advantage of this right now, okay? This $197 a month. And the choice is yours. You can pay $197 a month or you can pay $11.88 a month if you decide to wait. But if you take action right now, $197. And again, we're going to create a 6-week strategy that's going to take your business to the next level. It's one of the things that I've been doing for the better part of 20 years and was doing it before the internet, am doing it currently on the internet, and we'll continue to do it. One of the other bonuses that I'm going to give you when you decide to do this, and as you can see here, is you'll be able to meet in our Facebook group, okay? This is where you'll have access to more training. If you're in bail enforcement, this particular page I do gear it towards the bounty hunters and bail bondsmen. But the tips you can use for any business. But if you're in bail enforcement, you're in this, then we'll put you in the appropriate Facebook group. And you will have accesses to live cases and live skips that once you work on those cases, you'll be able to make immediate income from. Also in that meeting or in that group, you'll be able to network with like-minded individuals from all over and be able to share with them what's working good in your business, and you'll be able to hear from them what's working good in their business as well. But the other bonus that you're going to get right now is you'll be able to attend the next 3 live events that I have next year in 2016. And these events are where the real magic happens, and that's where you network with people that go on to do big things. And you'll be able to attend each one of those, okay, by being a member of this advanced class. But you have to act right now, okay? Right now, go ahead and click on this button again. I'm going to show it to you. Go to this link, click right now, and take advantage of this offer. I hope, folks, that you have enjoyed this webinar as much as I've enjoyed giving you this information. Again, remember those ninja tactics. Remember where to get that data from. Build a team of people. Learn how to network and get your business. And if you'd like some help in doing all of that, just let me know if there's anything that I can do to help you out. Until the next time, go ahead and click this link, and I hope to see you on the other side. I'm going to end right now, folks. Have a good one. Thanks. Click schedule new meeting. Please select an organizer has ended the meeting. Our meeting will now exit.